19th century Germany. You're an ordinary boy who has worked hard since childhood to earn money. It makes you angry. You want to live better. But it just doesn't work out. Because of this, you have a complex character, making it challenging to communicate with people. But you understand that you need to rely only on yourself to reach your goal in this cruel world. In a rage, you wrote a letter to a car maker saying that his new model was terrible, and it changed your life because Benz hired you. Finally, you get a prestigious job and forget about poverty. You work with a world-famous car maker. But at one point, you start a severe conflict because you have different plans and do not make concessions. Due to this, you stop working with Benz and create your car production in a month. Your company quickly becomes successful, but you will fail. You quarreled with some shareholders and they took away all your technologies and even your last name. But you decided to fight on, collecting money for a new company. Everything is ready to launch, except for the company's name. A little boy solves this problem. The new company is growing. You're creating new cars that quickly become popular. But you will be disappointed. You have problems with shareholders again, and they soon remove you from the company's management. Your company continues to work, develops rapidly, and survives during the Second World War. In addition, Adolf Hitler himself drove a car that your company created. It is the story of the talented engineer August Horch and his world-famous company that produces one of the best cars in the world, Audi. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. The boy August was born October 12, 1868 in Winningen-Rhenish, Prussia. His last name was Horch, which means listen in German. This word will play a significant role in his life. The boy's family was impoverished. His father worked as an ordinary blacksmith. Due to the lack of money, the boy left school at 13 and began working with his father. 3 years later, August got a job at a car building plant. Here, a 16-year-old boy, along with adult men, did the hard work blowing with a sledgehammer. Such a difficult life and work influenced the character of the future genius. August was purposeful and hardworking, but did not know how to communicate with people and often got into conflicts. At the age of 20, he continued his studies. August stubbornly prepared for the exams and entered the Saxon Engineering School. Thanks to this, he got a job in a foundry and later in the design office of a shipbuilding company in Leipzig. But this work was too hard. His life changed dramatically in 1896 during one of the walks in the city where a new car appeared, the Benz Velo. It was the first four-wheeled car in the world and people admired the innovative vehicle. Everyone except August. He examined the car and was disappointed. To be honest, he considered it the worst invention because he saw many things that needed improvement. A dissatisfied August wrote a letter to Benz that same day expressing dissatisfaction and suggesting improvements. Surprisingly, a famous inventor received a letter from an ordinary boy. The answer did not have to wait long. The car manufacturer invited August to work, where he took the plant manager position. August worked for this company for 3 years, and Benz became his father in the automotive industry. But the young guy could not continue the work here because of his character. Benz was very conservative and did not like to take risks, so many ideas were put off until later. August did not like this, and he decided that he needed to translate his unique ideas into reality independently. He quit his job and started thinking about building his car. But there was a problem. Not enough money for production. So August began working with a wealthy entrepreneur and founded August Horch Cie in 1899. The production was located in Ehrenfeld, Cologne, and only 11 people worked there. A few months later, the staff increased several times, thanks to which the first Horch car appeared in 1900. August designed this transport on his own and made it incredibly quiet, but like other cars of those times, it did not differ in high speed and power, only 5 horsepower. Soon the company released a new car, Horch Model 2. The luxury car sold successfully, which allowed the company to move to Reichenbach and increase the staff. August came up with new ideas daily to improve his cars and get ahead of his teacher Benz. Production increased, and in 1904, the company moved again, this time to Zwickau. The young genius enlisted investors' support and began producing new cars. For 4 whole years, the company created a new model Horch Cie, which was sold out in a few months and brought the company a significant profit. Then in 1908, the capital of the company reached 525,000 Reichsmarks. The beginning of 1909 radically changes the life and plans of the young automaker. In those days, racing was the best way to advertise cars, and it all started when August's best car lost Europe's biggest race. Because of this, a conflict began with the shareholders of the company. They considered Horch's ideas meaningless, and his management only destroyed the company. The character of August played a bad joke on him. He did not compromise with the shareholders and insisted on his own ideas. As a result, the court dismissed him from the company, receiving compensation of 25,000 Reichsmarks. It was a trifle. But do you think that stopped him? Not at all. A month later, he created a new company, Horch Automobilwerke, but the owners of the previous company sued him for using the word Horch. His last name is now a trademark, and he does not have the right to use it for his business. The situation negatively affected August's mood, and for the next 6 months, he had severe depression. It's hard to imagine what it's like when everything you've worked on, and even your last name, no longer belongs to you. August simply wrote down all of his ideas in a notebook until it ran out. Then he realized it was necessary to pull himself together, because no one but him realizes his ideas. August borrowed more than 200,000 Reichsmarks to set up the new production, but he could not develop a new name for the company. One evening, he and his friend were discussing possible names. At the time, his friend's son was studying Latin, and once he suggested to use the Latin word audire instead of Horch because they have the same meanings, just in different languages. The idea of the child was brilliant, and in 1910, the company Audi Automobilwerke appeared. August planned to create large luxury cars from the finest materials. That year, the first car appeared, Audi Type A. The new brand quickly won the hearts of connoisseurs of quality cars. Audi cars took part in races and won prizes, making the company famous. It produced even more models and were successfully sold. But August still couldn't effectively communicate with people, among whom were the shareholders of the company. He didn't like them. One day in 1920, he went to Berlin for a few months to rest and be inspired. And when August returned to Zwickau, he understood that the shareholders had removed him from the company's management. Again. An interesting thing is that August Horch became the Minister of Transport and influenced his company's activities. Audi continued to release new brands of cars, and it was worth to mention about the Model K. It was released in 1921 and was the first left-hand drive German-made car. Audi had earned its place as a prominent competitor in the industry. In 1928, DKW bought out Audi and soon presented an innovative front-wheel drive car. The new model did not require a lot of fuel, so it was popular in times of crisis. The crisis played an essential role in the fate of the Audi company. On June 29, 1932, a significant decision was made. At the initiative of the State Bank of Saxony, an automobile concern was created, Auto Union in Chemnitz. It included Audi, DKW, Wanderer, and August's first company, Horchwerke. This merger made Audi the second largest manufacturer of motor vehicles in Germany. The company emblem consisted of 4 interlocking rings intended to symbolize the inseparable unity of the 4 companies. Each of the 4 brands was assigned a specific market segment: DKW, motorcycles and small cars; Wanderer, mid-size cars; Audi, cars in the deluxe mid-size segment; and Horch, luxury cars at the top end of the market. Due to economic difficulties, Auto Union produced more small and affordable cars in the 1930s. Since Audi was focused only on luxury cars, the brand disappeared from the market for almost 2 decades. In 1945, after the end of the war, the Auto Union premises were located in the zone occupied by Soviet troops. They confiscated its assets, dismantled the plant, and removed the company from the commercial register of the city of Chemnitz. The company's history did not end there, because a new Auto Union company soon opened in Ingolstadt. It took another 10 years for the company to attract an investor, and a large automobile plant was built when funds appeared. In 1958, Daimler-Benz acquired the Auto Union company, but as it turns out, they were not interested in Audi cars and their technologies. So after a few years, they started selling shares. In 1964, Volkswagen bought Audi shares and became the plant owner in Ingolstadt. Here they assembled about 60,000 Volkswagen Beetles a year. The most surprising thing is that Volkswagen banned Audi from producing new products. Fortunately, the company had a few engineers who ignored the prohibitions. Ludwig Krauss developed the Audi 100 in complete secrecy from the leaders. So when they saw this car, they were shocked and allowed to start production of the new model. So in 1968, Audi returned to the market and became an absolute legend. Soon the company merged with NSU, which gave it more development opportunities. In the early 1970s, new models appeared, including the compact Audi 80 and the luxury Audi 90. This model received the title of European Car of the Year. One of the developments of Audi, the Volkswagen company, stole the Audi 50 car, which later became the Volkswagen Polo. This model is still popular, but no one knows that Audi engineers have developed it. Despite this, the company has created another innovative all-wheel drive car, Audi Quattro. Due to the complex design and heavy weight, many underestimated this car and laughed at it, but its incredible performance set world records in races. A small team assembled the Audi Quattro entirely by hand and only a few units were produced. In 1985, the company changed its name and is now officially called Audi AG and continues to evolve with innovations. In those days, cars such as the Audi 80, Type 89, and Audi 90 appeared. But in the early 1990s, the company's sales plummeted, and there were problems with the design of cars. Then the management decided to change its target market to compete with European manufacturers like Mercedes-Benz and BMW. The first car of the new era was the Audi V8, and it became the best in the premium segment. By the way, this particular car was used by many representatives of the authorities because it was reliable, comfortable, and quiet. At the beginning of the new century, the company announced record sales, namely more than 1 million vehicles per year. In particular, thanks to the entry into the Middle East market. People from China and even the government of the country bought the most. Such success allowed the company to take under its wing the well-known brands Lamborghini and Ducati, which were going through difficult times. In 2005, the company introduced its first Audi Q7 SUV with an all-wheel drive and an electronic assistant. In 2009, the company's profit was $1.8 billion, and sales continued to grow worldwide. After a few years, Audi, like other manufacturers, were involved in an environmental pollution scandal. But most cars passed the test successfully, which increased sales by 15% in 2015. Soon, the company announced the creation of its artificial intelligence, which began to be used in the modern Audi A8 models. Thanks to this, the car is self-driving up to 60 kilometers per hour. The company did not stop there and decided to create a real car of the future. In 2021, the world saw the Audi Skysphere concept car. It is an innovative model in which everything is done automatically, and even the steering wheel is unnecessary. With just one touch of a button, the car changes its appearance like a transformer. Previously, this could only be seen in films. Today, the company employs over 80,000 people worldwide and sells vehicles in 120 countries. The company's profit is almost $5 billion a year, and Audi is working on new cars that will be environmentally friendly. It's difficult to imagine what the car market would be like if it were not for the idea of a simple boy creating a global brand. Personally, I'm in love with Audi. What do you think of the company? And if there's a particular company story you'd like to learn about, let me know in the comments.